So Christmas, I know you broke your foot in every possible place imaginable, but if you could just do us all a favor and speed up so we can finish this HOH comp so we don't go into the next time slot. Thanks! What's up, everybody? How's it going? Happy Friday! You guys know what that means. Of course, it is Fan Fridays. Oh my god, I love them so much! So this was a fairly contentious week once again in the Big Brother house. And I'd much rather just talk about that point of contention rather than go through an entire recap of the week. I think that we all kind of know what happened this time around. But for continuity's sake, I will go ahead and address the fact that Jessica did indeed use the halting hex. And the way production really hyped that up was so lackluster. Really just dimming lights, that's all you can offer us. And you couldn't even give us the satisfaction of Jessica actually having to say the words halting hex rise, eviction night dies. That's all anybody was tweeting about for the whole day. I mean, just flickering lights. They had the Big Brother house looking like a Hollister clothing store. Pay the damn light bill already. In any case, Josh went ahead and won HOH right after that. It's so frustrating because he's in my draft. So on one hand, I'm like, I'll take 10 points, thank you. On the other hand, I'm like, oh, can we please just get a week where Paul isn't going to dictate everything in the house? But you know what? Whatever. Let's just talk about the big blow up of this week. And that would have to be Cody and Jessica versus the cast of Big Brother 19. So there's this word that gets thrown around every season of Big Brother. It starts in a B, ends in a Y. I'm sure you guys all know what I'm talking about. And typically with a lot of words, if you use them over and over again, they tend to lose their meaning. And so I think that in the future we should be very careful with the words that we choose so that when we actually do mean them, it actually holds a bit more weight. But enough of the language arts lesson. I'm talking about the word bully. So you know what? I went back to the dictionary and I looked up the definition of the word. And here's what I found. Bully. Noun. A person who uses strength or power to harm or intimidate those who are weaker. Verb. Use superior strength or influence to intimidate someone, typically to force him or her to do what one wants. So when it comes to what happened between Jessica, Cody, and the rest of the house, would you want to call that bullying? Well, if you look at the definition, I definitely think that there were a group of people that were using their influence and their power in the form of numbers to intimidate someone or something into doing something that they want them to do. So I think that it is a textbook, literal definition of the word bully. But I don't think that's the main point here. I think that anybody looking at that scenario would agree that there was a lot of bullying going on. I think the main point of contention was, where does bullying stop and gameplay begins? This area is so gray. I mean, it's grayer than the future of this country. Ooh. I mean, we honestly have to remember that Big Brother, before anything else, is a social experiment. It is literally a microcosm of life. So the things that you see happening in your real life are going to get boiled down and happen in the Big Brother house as well. So bullying, something that happens in real life, can that be used as a strategy in the Big Brother house? I, for one, think it can. But here's the catch. If you think about Big Brother like a chess game, the object of the game is to move your pieces along and essentially corner and diminish your opponent's pieces. You essentially want to gain power, you want to gain influence, you want to intimidate the other players into moving out of your way so that you can sit in that final two come finale night. The game is set up so that one person is in power and can use that power to influence the game in any way they see fit. Now, I'm sure some of you are saying, well, Amon, that's a very simplistic way of viewing it. I think that you're kind of oversimplifying the way that we feel about Paul and the rest of the house ganging up on Cody and Jessica. No, and I take that into account. But here's the thing. What Paul was doing before any of this popped off, when he went to Jessica and he said, listen, I think that you really have no choice but to not use this hex, because if you use this hex, that means that we're only going to come after you next. That within itself, it's a bit of a bullying move. Jessica herself said that she felt strong arms into doing things that everybody else wanted to do, and she didn't want to do it. Paul, as the HOH, having influence, having power, and having the numbers on his side to intimidate Jessica into doing something that he wanted her to do. I don't think Jessica was ever going to do it, but it did get her thinking, and that is a strategic way to play Big Brother. That is the way to bully, in my opinion, in the Big Brother game. But here's where Paul and the rest of the house effed up when it came to Jessica and Cody. Paul and Christmas talking about attacking Cody's military service, something that has nothing to do with the game at all. And then Paul telling Josh to go ahead and annoy the hell out of them, banging pots and pans, essentially trying to get one of them to crack and to self-evict from the game. That's where things get a little bit hairy. No, a bit hairy. It's just not very pleasing to watch. And I know that there are a lot of people out there that are going to say, oh, I think that everyone's being a bit too sensitive. But I think you should really try and put yourself in that situation and see how you would feel if the entire house is yelling at you, people are banging pots and pans, people are trying to question whether or not something that you've laid your life down on the line for actually exists. I mean, where is Big Brother in all of that mess? It doesn't exist anymore. And the thing is, I don't think that any of them really thought that they were actually bullying them. I think that they all thought that they were playing a game. So sure, if that's a game move on your end, go ahead, play that game to the fullest. But I do think that it's going to be a bit irrational of you to not expect some kind of backlash either in the house or outside of the house. And I think the most frustrating part about all of it is that we didn't even get to experience that narrative in the edited cut. Where was the part when Paul was telling the rest of the house guests that he wasn't planning on honoring Jess's deal anyways? Where was the part where Paul went and told Raven to cry? Where was the part where Raven lied to the rest of the house guests and said that Jess and Cody pulled her into that room when Jess didn't even want to talk to her? And where was the part where Paul and Christmas devised a plan to talk about Cody's military service? You know, if we're gonna talk about strategy and gameplay and leave an emotion out of it, at least can we see the strategies that these players are attempting to use in the house so we can get a clear picture of how everybody's game looks? Because at that point, I really don't think it's about bullying versus not bullying and right versus wrong. It's about what is reality and what isn't. And I think that if you don't watch the live feeds, if you don't really keep up with any of that, you're gonna get a very skewed picture of how the game is played. But once again, I guess that's kind of what happens every single year. It just seems like this particular instance, which was very nasty and touchy for a lot of people, it wasn't expressed in the way that we wanted it to be expressed, and I think that really just sent people for a loop. But you know, this season has been crazy, and there is still a lot of game to be played. There are still, 12 people in that house. We haven't even reached jury yet. A lot of the people are still in the background, waiting to step into the spotlight. So I'm still hopeful that we'll get a lot more real gameplay and not just this petty bad girls club BS for the rest of the season. Honestly, maybe it's just the optimist in me. I don't think that anybody in that house is truly evil or negative. I just think that it's easy as a human being to get caught up in all the hype, get angry, get mad, get pissed, get sad, want to lie, want to backstab. I mean, that's the game of Big Brother. You just gotta try and play as clean as possible if you want to come out of that house and not get dragged for it. But then again, if we don't want to repeat of BB16 where everybody was just friends and lovey-dovey, then I guess this is the way to go. Anyways, that's it for me today, folks. I just can't wait to figure out who wins the Temptation comp. And I can't wait to see who wins the veto. Because, honestly, we just need this house to get shaken up, don't we? Whether you're against Paul or for Cody or whoever, I just want to see more stuff happen. Give me some more stuff. Happy Friday, everybody. Have a fantastic summer weekend.